Collective Shout, a non-profit from Australia, is in the pursuit of removing any content off of the face of the internet if they disagree with it. As it stands now, Collective Shout claims that they are against pornography and child abuse as well as incest. Well, the child abuse and incest problems are well within the right boundaries of making sense to be having an outcry about. It seems rather overreaching to me conceptually to disagree with the entire field of pornography when some of it is made within a space that isn't full of toxic standards and sourced in people's pain. Let's break down porn. When it comes to porn, it's a long-running industry spanning generations and one central theme through it: women, and their dismay to be a part of the experience. Creepy, shitty criminals running illegitimate sex rings and paying hardly anything with no royalties. But there's been a shift in time. Generations have passed and the internet's prevalence has shifted the power to some degree. Don't get me wrong, there's still shitheads all around, but the big issue of people not having control or power over their works and their bodies doesn't have to be the case anymore, seeing as we have platforms now that allow you to be self-sufficient. So returning back to the whole picture, when porn is broken down into two categories, one being the grimy, slime-filled nastiness, and the other being one's passion, we don't have a reason to outright deny the existence of one's passion just because of the grimy, slime-filled nastiness. So how does Collective Shout relate to all of this? Well, the idea comes down to Collective Shout being fundamentally at odds with the concept of anybody being able to do something that they disagree with. So as a move to prevent anybody from utilizing pornography, whether it be in a safe or non-harmful means, they felt infuriated, and much like the children that they aimed to protect, they threw a tantrum. Collective Shout utilized mass reporting, flagging, and repeated harassment of phone lines to major credit card processors in an attempt to shut down any vendors that would host games that fall under a pornography definition, this being any game with not safe for work elements that is tagged properly across the storefront. This happened across Steam, and then promptly now itch.io, which has effectively killed the genre, and all metadata for those search terms of not safe for work content is now gone. So why would you care? Well, believe it or not, you can see things are headed in a bad direction. I don't give a damn if vendors don't want to support adult-only content or not safe for work projects, because there's always going to be the impression of wanting to make sure that you're appealing to the masses and advertisers. But the bigger picture problem is how this affects the people who work on those titles as their actual job, and additionally how this sets a precedent that if any organization or group has a disagreement with something, they don't have to use their words and explain how those concepts are actually harmful when it comes to each title. They can just cry and create attacks against payment processors to create a rug pull effect on these people. They have already attempted in the past to minimize GTA and other music artists like Tyler the Creator, Eminem, and others. So what comes next? I mean, if money is all it takes to make the company move and dance at your will, what stops Collective Shout from just calling Visa or MasterCard at the next inconvenience? If they have this much power, what could I even do? Well, if you look into the Fair Access to Banking Act, this bill, if it passes, will require banks to service payment processing for anyone that is in legal standing. So if you didn't commit a crime, you get to still have your business running, which is how it should be already. Beyond that, just be vocal and say when you disagree with something. These people are abusing their ability to speak, so you should never feel afraid to speak your mind following something this stupid. If these people truly believe that there's this much harm coming from the video game porn industry, then I would love to see them actually shut down the real porn industry. It's a waste of time to be attacking video games where these are controlled spaces of people exploring themselves through projects. It's no different than any other form of art, and the eagle-eye focus on it only shows just how much of a religious backing this group has, because you have to be brainwashed to a heavy degree to believe that every single source of pornography is the same. None of this ever justifies the sick nastiness of pedophilia, rape, or incest, but not all of pornography is that, and effectively attempting to cripple or cut down the market for those people just because you disagree with the entirety of it is a closed-minded viewpoint. Additionally, some of these developers, as twisted as you see it, are actually human and not a monster, so they might even have a personal story relating to the concept of their game and why they developed it. Sometimes, it's even formed in some personal experience or wanting to share a moment or idea with these people to let them feel something similar. On top of it, how do we trust these people to effectively understand what the term pornography represents, seeing as anything that they deem as too much might be sexual by nature, especially if they're coming from a religious perspective? It's common for too many religious people to be reserved about their sexuality or even repress it as a shameful thing. What about LGBTQ plus people? How do they fall into this equation? Is anything that represents their nature of sexuality and being too much? Would Collective Shout be worried that allowing us to see different people of different walks of life be a fetish or something sexual just by existing? Point of the whole thing being, Maybe we put too much power into no-name idiots, and additionally, payment processors rule too much of the world's commerce when it comes to goods and art, or just about anything. It would be best to start letting these people know that you disagree with how much they disagree with everything else.